Social justice education and departments are popping up more and more at universities across the country. And I think that's because institutions and administrators are recognizing that students, 21st century students, want to be equipped with the knowledge of understanding the social injustices that they see all around them, and then they want to be equipped with skills for doing something about those social injustices. So the fact that Hamline has had a social justice program since 1999 is really remarkable, and Hamline has really been a trailblazer in this regard.
Hamline was very early in saying we can not only have a kind of campus community commitment to social justice, but we can pursue it in academic ways, which provides our students with a grounding in a base of knowledge and skills that makes it possible to think of this vocationally.
It's interesting to me that it's been in the relatively recent years, I would say probably in the last maybe 10 years, that academic leaders of the institution have been talking about the social justice mission that's embedded in Hamline's mission. I didn't hear much talk about that for my first 20 years here. So it's interesting that it's coming up right now. I believe that social justice education has been happening here much longer.
I had the great good fortune of having a chair in the religion department who was interested in expanding my teaching opportunities. But the religion department itself couldn't offer me enough classes. And at the very same time, there was an initiative that he was involved in, faculty-generated initiative, to put together an academic program in social justice. And if you wanted to bring the roots of that down to very human dimensions, this was about faculty members who were becoming frustrated with the university constantly talking about its commitment to such things, but not articulating it in the central, most meaningful form, which would be an educational program.
I'm proud of so many things about the social justice program and the things that we've been able to accomplish.
But students in particular have been such a gift to me.
Something that really stands out are the student successes, and specifically some of the projects that they have completed in the classes.
My all-time favorite is a course called The Role of Conflict in Social Change, and it's a course that could be taught with a variety of different social movements at its center. I have always taught it as young people in the civil rights movement, and that is a history that is mostly living in people's memories, not in the official history texts.
So I'm thinking specifically about the youth activism class. Students create activist videos in collaboration with elementary school students.
There are kids in this community who actually learn that history in their school, in a social justice curriculum, in a K-8 school. So those students come into the course when I teach it, and they teach Hamline students. That course really highlights how social justice doesn't just evolve, it has to be fought for.
I thought it was great that the university got involved in the project. When the light rail was going to go through the corridor, that was a major focus for the program for a while. A lot of people were involved in that and finding and working with different groups in the community to see how that could work for the people who already were there.
2007, the social justice program, in cooperation with a couple other programs on campus, was given a grant to explore a curriculum related to then the planning and construction of the light rail line on university.
Earl Schwartz developed a strong vision over semesters of student involvement in supporting the community and community voices to be heard as that civic project happened.
For the next 3 years, the social justice program led this initiative, first to plan what a meaningful course focused on issues having to do with the real lives of people who lived and worked in the Central Corridor, would mean in terms of the changes that would come with that kind of dramatic transit and transit-related redevelopment of neighborhoods.
Was very anchored in the community, very respectful, honored first community needs. And that's part of the lesson.
It was extraordinary. It was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for me to, on the one hand, learn more in a very, very particular way about the way that this very neighborhood adjacent to Hamline works for the people who live and make their living here.
I'd love to see continuing ways for social justice students and the social justice program to magnify the voices of people who aren't otherwise heard.
In the next 20 years, my hope for the social justice program is that we are able to continue providing students with a rigorous, high-quality social justice education.
I would hope that we retain a strong academic core. It's not simply a cultivation of good intentions, but the development of real learning and actual skills. And that, in turn, to a great extent, depends on our ability to continue to make good, productive contact with partners outside of the university.
I think the solidifying of a foundation and consistency in the social justice program is probably the 20-year thing that really means something to all of us, I think. And things kept changing at the university all the time, but Earl was the same. And Earl and I and Valerie have always talked about cementing the program, making it consistent, making sure it's here for the long term, making it a part of the community, making it part of the college, and being here for students, because there's a lot of inequalities out there and a lot of social justice issues.
Thanks to the generosity of the Erickson Endowment, we've been able to provide internship and off-campus learning experiences. That's been crucial, and I would hope that in the years to come, the program continues to expand effectively in those areas.
I do have hope that we have really smart students and really passionate students that are coming through the program and that are continuously changing the program, and we're adapting the program to meet their interests and their needs.
I've met great hearts, fine people, who are doing wonderful things right now in the world, doing it and enduring the kinds of frustrations and difficulties that come with this work in a way that inspires me, deeply inspires me.
I chose to study social justice because I believe that it is the responsibility of those with privilege to use that privilege to serve others and to speak truth to power.
It was a risk because there were people that were asking me, what are you going to do with that job? But for me, it was an imperative, which has paid off really well.
I figured that if I studied something I loved, maybe, just maybe, I would end up doing something that I loved.
So I found my way to a social justice degree because I was beginning to explore my own identities and trying to figure out what it all meant.
I was compelled to study social justice because I had a tragedy occur in my life, and I was so heartbroken at the loss of a friend and just at that overwhelming feeling of wanting to do something. I discovered that Hamline had a social justice major, which I think was so ahead of its time. I mean, this was back in 2000 when I started, and I don't think there were many programs like this, and so I was so excited.
And so that's what brought me to the social justice degree. But I saw it through to the end because I wanted a deeper understanding of larger interactions between privilege and oppression. And once I started learning about those interactions, I found myself dissatisfied with the thought of just becoming a cog in the machine.
I kept on studying social justice because it matters, and because along the way the program was fantastic, and that I also got the skills that prepared me to be a functioning professional out in the world.
I've since become a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for 10 years. I practiced as a public defender for about 7 years, and now I work as an attorney in women's reproductive health here in Austin, Texas.
Right now, I do work that I love, that I'm proud to tell my 2 daughters about, and that creates a bit of the world that I hope to see. I serve as a director at an affordable housing organization in the Twin Cities, where each night we provide housing for over 3,000 individuals.
I have developed a lot of programs for teenagers to help them come up with tools to manage stress and to just manage life and figure out where they have power. I have goals to set up a international teen program to take teens from the U.S. and travel to other countries and have them meet and interact with teens from other countries and find out what their lives are like as we're talking more about borders and as we're talking more about walls. I think it's so critical that we start to come together and we unify.
I ended up graduating in 2018, double majored in social justice and women's studies, and I'm now working full-time as a preschool teacher in the White Bear Lake School District. I'm also the assistant director of religious education at White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church. And in between it all, I work as a research assistant for Professor Valerie Chepp here at Hamline.
And now, what I'm doing is I got a master's in communication and leadership, and I teach. I teach at the higher ed level. I've taught at the community college. Currently, I'm in my 3rd year of doctoral studies at the University of Texas in Austin, where I study interpersonal communication. So in summary, I'm really glad that I majored in social justice.